I don't do the most, but I do a lot. I'ma make a toast, cause we still alive. No big, I feel like Pac. Shoot a shot.
Well, folks, looks like another heartbreaking loss for the Tigers. They go down in a nail-biter, 13-17. Back to you, Jim.
Yeah, coming in hot, just like the fajita. I write what I live, my life in the speaker. I'm nice with the flow, just like the demeanor. I'm feeding my fam, I'm feeding the meter. They got the iron while I got the steamer. I bring the fire, but you never seen her. I testified on.
Tell me what your mindset was going into, your rookie year in the NFL, knowing that you were a 7th-round draft pick and knowing that you had to make a team. Like, was it the same mindset that you had in the University of Cincinnati, where I'm just gonna keep my head down and keep working? Or you tell me.
Yeah, I would say, it was that blue collar mentality continues, right? And like you said, I was a walk-on again, if you will. But like I said, I had the stage though. I had a platform. So one of the guys told me, man, because the pressure can get to you, man. But one of the teammates said, hey, man, if you're not here, you'll be somewhere else. Because you're pretty much, putting your film out there every practice, every preseason game. You're putting your film out there for the whole NFL to watch. And so, but the grind was still there, man. Believe it or not, I was undersized for the NFL. And so,
not in today's NFL now. You the slot cornerback that they need.
Yeah, in the slot. Right.
With the side that you had coming out of, college and going into the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, you that guy that now in the NFL, and that's the evolution of the game, right? It's spread offense. It's these slot receivers who are really agile and and lower center of gravity to get out of their breaks, right? And their cuts. And you're a prototypical slot cornerback now. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, like I said, each team has their different desires or different style of a player that they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some guys like a more, bigger nickel guy that could play in the box and cover.
Right.
Some guys like, some teams like the smaller guys. So it just all depends on what organization you with. But again, if I had to, kind of think about my approach at that time, I wanted to make special teams. So, again, I was at that point, like, man, how can I contribute on special teams?
That hasn't changed. That hasn't changed in the NFL. Like if you get picked in the later rounds, or the latter rounds of the NFL, I've been hearing that since I played when I was in college, man. To get to a camp and bust your butt on special teams. Your butt on special teams. So that's what you were doing.
Man, that's what I did well in college. And that's what my mindset was, man. The NFL was such a numbers game. And so you just had to, put your best foot forward, man, and show that you could compete.
Right.
And I ended up getting released by Pittsburgh. I couldn't play the last 2 preseason games because of an injury. And man, started out so hot. I'm talking about they had a couple of newspaper clippings. I picked off Plaxico Burress. I mean, I was guarding him in one-on-ones. Picked off Tommy Maddox was the quarterback.
Yeah.
And so they had me in the paper. Glover offered something special.
Yeah.
The whole notion of contributing on special teams, and then I get hurt, man.
Dang, man.
You get hurt, hey,
you ain't no film out
reps.
there. Yep, people
don't get film.
The next person's up.
And so one thing that a lot of people don't know, man, is me and James Harrison, who may be considered a Hall of Famer one day.
Absolutely.
But me and James Harrison, we got cut. We got released the same time, the same day. And we got offered to be on their practice squad. And it was crazy because I ended up going to the movies. Never been to the movies by myself or, but I ended up going like, man, I'm gonna go catch a movie.
Yeah.
And so I go to the movies and I see him and he like, oh man, what up? And so we tell each other what happened. And he was like, man, I got released, man. Man, what you going to see? We both we both like,
y'all down in the dumps, man.
we down in the dumps, ain't never been to the movies by ourselves. So we see each other, but we end up just going in the same show. Like,
Yeah.
we might as well catch this mug together.
Yeah.
And so, but one thing, the difference was he decided to stay with the organization because he came in as a free agent. He decided to stay with the organization, and, work with the team and be on the practice squad.
Yeah.
But I decided to go back home to Cincinnati and try out, for their team, and eventually, got on their practice squad. But, my circumstances was, man, James was still in high school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's where home was. I was familiar and comfortable. But in hindsight, man, I wish I would have stayed there because that was the team that drafted me.
Right.
So they were looking to, give me a spot, man, and I could have earned it. And so, but that's hindsight.
That's right.
You know
Hindsight.
what I mean?
Yep. Hindsight. Because at the end of the day, you had you were playing with both teams, and we're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals, you guys, that he ended up getting signed on the practice squad. And that's of course, that's when I get to meet you. I mean, that's actually when you were introduced to me in my life.
Yeah.
And I had to know, and all the stuff that you have led up to this point, I didn't know about.
Yeah.
I know a little bit about what you've been talking about, but I didn't know all the full details. And so, you're giving me now full context of, the journey, in regards to when I first met you, and and during this time, you're just trying to survive and make it. And I'm looking at, I meet you my junior year. This is 2001, 2002. I meet you. You have the blue Lexus, the candy blue Lexus, baby. Oh,
Yeah,
the coupe, the coupe. You're staying in Western Hills, an apartment next to our high school.
We're Tigers.
Yep, 100%. And during all this stuff that you're telling me, this is up until, this is up during that time. And this is just to let you know, like, and let the people know, like, this guy I would not have been able to tell any of this stuff based off of how you carried yourself. You never had this big ego. You looked at this as it's your job. Your number one job was taking care of JP. And I'm like, man, I'm looking at you as like an NFL star. So yeah, you're on the practice squad. Now you make the practice squad in Cincinnati. And of course, obviously, the two organizations, as you said, like, if I look back hindsight, it worked out. But if, looking back, the organizations are different, the way they're run. And, Cincinnati's been infamous for the Bengals. They don't spend any money. They want to get people like you for sure. So, they don't got to pay you a lot of money. But at the end of the day for you, we like, I still got a job. And so you get to Cincinnati, and you only have a preseason with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now you get to Cincinnati, you work out for them. They end up signing to the practice squad, and the players, the town, you close to home. Just you just felt you're more at home. But now you still have to grind though, right? Because you're just a practice squad player. Now when you get to Cincinnati, who are some of the players that they have? Because I ain't talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers players. I don't care about them. But who were some of the players? Who were some of the players that Because you watching football growing up, and now you're there and you're at practices and you're playing in the games against guys that you watched on TV. It's hard not to get sometimes not to get starstruck, but because you got to compete. You don't want people make you look bad. So did you have some of that when you got to the league? Like, yo, bro, that's Plaxico Burress, Michigan State, like wide receiver, 6 foot, whatever. Like, did you have that? Like, did you yo? Because at the end of the day, it's surreal. This is a surreal moment in your life, right? Because of course, obviously, when you playing against some of these cats in college, anyways, and you're playing on your college team, you're playing with cats who end up getting drafted and making it to the NFL. But those are guys who coming up with you, but the guys who you were watching, like, were you able to did that hit you like, yo, I'm on the practice. I'm Brad. Hey, Coach, Bill Cowher is right in my face, yelling with his mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Was that surreal, man?
It was, man. I would say more so in Pittsburgh than in Cincinnati. I mean,
Yeah,
Cincinnati, we had superstars too, but in Pittsburgh, man, we had Hines Ward,
Yeah.
Cordell Stewart,
Yeah.
Jerome Bettis, and
The bus.
yeah, we had some big time players, man. Kendrell Bell, Lethan Flowers,
That
you know,
linebacking core they had.
yeah, Jason Gilden. Yeah, so it was more so, kind of starstruck there. Like, man, this is amazing. These guys are going to be Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
When, of course, with Cincinnati,
Up and coming.
yeah, but it was superstars there. So we had Corey Dillon.
Shout out Corey Dillon.
Yeah, Big Willie Anderson,
Hey,
offensive lineman.
man, should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yep. And so we had John Kitna there. The receiving core was, Peter Warwick, Chad Johnson, Ocho. We had Ron Dugans, so we had some guys, man. Takeo Spikes was a baller. And so it was some guys, man. But, Artrell Hawkins, obviously.
Yeah.
But I would say more so in Pittsburgh. And, man, you gain your respect early, man. And so it's being on a practice squad, for the record, is not like being a walk-on.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. You know what I mean?
Is it and you saying that in a good way or a bad way?
No, I'm saying that in a good way.
Nice.
You know what I mean? It's just a numbers game. I mean, you still get paid, and you're not signed to a contract. You're signed to a practice squad contract. You're not signed to, a 1 term or a 1 year or multi-year. But in terms of, I wouldn't say is like a walk-on. I would say it's a little different. I mean,
yeah. You part of you feel like a part of the team. Walk-ons, man. You got listen.
And equally, the parallels are that you can still gain your respect, no matter if you walk on, no matter, if you're on practice squad, you still earn your respect.
Yeah, because you made,
what I mean?
Yeah, especially in the NFL, you made it. Like that means that you were the best of the best. You are a professional, no matter if you're practice squad or first team, second team, third team. You made it.
And guess what? Each day is you building your resume. Right. So you get a chance to do one-on-ones. You get a chance to be on the scout team. So that's a game. That's a game day for you. Right. And if you approach it like that, the best to happen for you.
Right.
And I approached every day like okay, that. This is my chance to guard Chad Johnson.
Yeah.
This is my chance to lock up Peter Ward. And before I left there, man, one thing that I really felt good about was that, guys, we had different competitions or whatever. And I was, and it was all, personal preference, I guess. You know what I mean? It was all, we had like a little wager going on to see who was the fastest or who was in the top 5 fastest players on the team, offense and defense. And your boy, practice squad or not, because I was on a practice squad. I was only on practice squad for 6 weeks, and then the 10 weeks I was on active roster.
Yeah. And
so got the real check.
Got the real check, baby.
Got the real check. But I was in the top 5, man. So, that was I got it, you got that respect of being, in the top 5 of the fastest players on the team.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And so
that was peer led or peer discovered. So
hey, listen,
you got the respect of your peers, man. Sometimes that matters more than anything else.
Right. Now when it comes to money aspect, right? Now you're done with it now. Ain't like I'm asking what you're making now, but I need for educational purposes. You have sons, right? And of course, the money's longer and bigger. It's NIL money, and then all this other stuff. They get to brand themselves or whatnot. But you also have to put the production in. You have to have production on the field in order to get that type of recognition right now in today's date. But when it comes to you getting drafted in the 7th round, right? What signing bonus you getting when you get drafted in the 7th round? Tell the people. Because everybody always thinks, oh, you in the NFL, you making millions. Tell them.
Yeah. So back then, man, it's a lot greater now. Back then, minimum was $225,000. Mm-hmm. For a rookie, and then for a 7th rounder, your range would be, anywhere from the signing bonus anywhere from like 35,000 to. I would say at the highest it would probably be about $45,000.
$45,000
on down.
Yeah.
And I got 41,000. 41,000 bonus.
41,000. Now, yeah, I mean back in the day that was still good money, but for the sake of everything you got to go through, and you got taxes and all that stuff, and you gotta, it's minute compared, right? It's minute,
Yeah.
right? And so now $42,000, is and now you get the game checks a little bit more, a little bit bigger, right? But I had to throw that out there because a lot of people, they don't know. They say, "Oh man, you playing next to Joe Burrow, and you one of the key players on the team, but
Yeah.
he getting paid $60 million, and you
Right.
getting paid $400,000,
Right.
And so
Right.
I just want the kids to understand that, make sure you get the right agent, right? Make sure you got a daddy like LaVar who's been there and done that, just like with your sons right now, where you can kind of keep them educated and keep them versed on in regards to the financial aspect of the game, because you only have a short playing career. So now you playing in Cincinnati, you playing against you matched up at practice with receivers such as Chad Johnson. He was Chad Johnson at the time, not Ocho, but he was still nice. And so and I got a story with that. I got a great story when it came to that. So when it comes to Chad Johnson, and shout out to Chad Johnson, my boy. I need you here. I need you on the show. I need you to share it. Your journey, your ins, your outs, your struggles, your ups, your downs. It's for the kids. But anywho, you playing against these guys now. When it comes to the competition level with receiver, though, LaVar, like now you in the league. You said you mentioned you going against Plaxico Burress. Bigger receiver, right? He was like 6'5". 6'4", and you in Cincinnati, you playing against Peter Ward, very shifty guy, played at Florida State, should have won a Heisman Trophy but got in trouble. Chad Johnson. Who's the best receiver that you had to go against? The best receiver that you had to go against, whether in the game or practice?
Man, they all had different qualities, and different skills, man.
Yeah.
Hines Ward in practice was, man, what you saw on TV. I mean, he was strong. He was he was an OG smooth.
Yeah.
And so he knew how to set up routes, man. And so he was hard to guard. Plaxico Burress, like you said, was 6'5", 6'6". You definitely had to play through his hands, man. Yeah. And he was big. He wasn't skinny,
big guy. Like a
so
tight end
put him
size.
up. He can put him up and put him down. No, he was shifty. You know what I'm saying?
Tell me about Ocho. Tell me about Ocho, bro. Yeah. Tell me about Chad.
Ocho, a Hall of Famer, man. So Ocho was the real deal.
Hip,
so I would say
mean hips.
Yeah, feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I would say the toughest probably the thing was I could run with Chad, and so if I pressed him, I had a better chance. But he liked when you pressed him because he wanted to give you something off the line. But if you could press Chad and I could run with him.
Yeah.
But in space, man, it was tough, man. Chad was the toughest, I would say.
Yeah.
The work when he was Peter Ward, couldn't nobody mess with Peter Ward though. In the slot,
yeah.
If he got a two-way go, hey man, it ain't no stopping that. You know what I mean? 100%. Like people, I don't know, people might have got confused or, Peter Ward was still Peter Ward. Trust me. They may not have used him the proper way at all times, but Peter Ward was still Peter Ward. But I would tell people, man, the one thing that, separates the receivers from NFL to college is the freaking quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah. Period.
Hey, the quarterbacks, man.
Yep.
The ball was coming faster.
Yep.
It was in a spot where you couldn't get it. And so, even though, you may think you got good coverage, and a lot of times you did, but they still would make the grab because of that quarterback was putting it in the right spot.
Right.
So that was a difference maker right there.
And then, of course, you had to, people always say the speed of the game. We talk about it from high school to college. And, you're the best player in high school. Now you're at the bottom because you got to prove yourself because everybody's the best player from their high school. Now you got to reestablish yourself. And people always like, man, and that's what I noticed from high school to college. It was just like it only took me like 2 games though from college. The speed of the game, the speed was of the game, and then we start playing the bigger schools, and smaller Division I schools. We end up playing like 1 or 2 the bigger schools, and like all the position players we all were the same size as players from the University of Tennessee. I played at UT Martin, so like the receivers and the DBs, like they were the same size. I'm like they're no different than me, right? But the difference was the line, the offense and defensive linemen their guys were so much bigger, stronger, and faster, right? And so when it comes to the NFL, you are already fast. Did the speed of the game, did you have to catch up to the speed of the game, or were you already adapted to the speed of the game because you running 4.3s?
Yeah. I would say the speed of the game, man, has probably about 10% to do with your athleticism. Yeah, I mean, and 90% to do with what you know.
Right, technique and film study.
Man, technique and knowing where to be.
Yep.
So
assignments.
Man, it was your job. And so that was the difference right there from college. Man, them guys knew exactly where they had to be. And that makes you faster. If you know where you're going, you know, and you know where everybody else is going, you're going to be that much faster, man. Lee Flowers, they used to play safety for number 41 for Pittsburgh Steelers. He wasn't athletic. I mean, he was older. He was maybe in his 9th, 10th year, man. And so he was old school back then. He wasn't the most athletic, but when I tell you he could call out, you know, everybody's position, and that's what made him fast, man.
Oh,
and again, this is the NFL, so you got unbelievable talent, you got unbelievable athletes.
Yeah,
you got defensive linemen running just as fast as you are. Linebackers running 4.4, 4.5, and just their angles. And so the speed of the game, man, is really a mental aspect of it, and really you knowing your assignment better than the other person.
Yes, bro. And it's a good thing that you were fast, man. Just, you know, you were born fast, and you just fine-tuned it when it came to your work ethic and, you know, working out. And so, you know, you're at Cincinnati. This is when I meet you. You know, you're at the Bengals. I'm thinking, like I said, you know, going back to that where I'm like, this guy right here, man, this guy's he has arrived, you know. And so I meet you, and you are, you know, you're taking care of your brother. And this is like the football aside, that's where, you know, when it comes to this show, that's the story. We're talking about NFL, your journey, you know, from walking on to the, you know, on the University of Cincinnati's football team, that actually walking onto an NFL field. Like that's the attention grasper. But the most important thing of all this is, you know, your ability to continue to work hard, to be that light, that shining light in your family's eyes, and people who, you know, had a hand in, you know, helping coaching you and, you know, kind of showing you the ropes and the way. But a lot of it came from your mindset. And so this is why I thought you were so much older at the time. You know, you just 5 years older than me. You know, you just had a birthday to pass in December, and I just had a birthday to pass in November. You know, and JP is playing basketball. We playing basketball together in high school, and he's a sophomore, I'm a junior. And you guys have that apartment next to the school. And I even remember going to down by the University of Cincinnati and going to the laundromat with you. You know, we used to wash your clothes and stuff. And so, you know, I'm meeting you. You got the blue Lexus. Like, man, you raising your brother? And I'm like, what? Like, man, you know, you raising your brother. And, you know, and JP, we've had these conversations many a time. Shout out to my brother, JP, and my brother, true brother. And talking to JP, and I remember at the time, you know, JP didn't realize, he didn't understand, he didn't grasp the magnitude of what was going on either. You know, you're out here trying to, you know, make a team, stay on the team, have longevity, and you know, this is your professional, this is your job. All the while, you have this young man who you got to leave at home by himself, and, you know, hope that, you know, the morals and values that you're instilling in him are, you know, taking hold. Which, you know, hey, you know, that boy is a knucklehead. He didn't. I think at the time he appreciated it, and I didn't appreciate it. I didn't know. I mean, I think I appreciated it more because I was envious that JP, like, you had a brother, man. You got an older brother who not only like raising you, bro. He's like a dad. Like, he's so mature. You know, your mentor, mentoring him, not just mentoring and raising him, man. And indirectly, you became my mentor. You know, and so you ended up introducing me to work ethic. And I was one of those kids that ended up letting, like, life, I can't get to the gym. Yeah, I'm not partying, but I'm not able to get there. And I'm thinking about where my next meal is going to come from. That's what my mind was. And so, not to say I didn't work hard, I played all 3 sports as well, but, you know, you introduced me, you had all this stuff going on, LaVar, And you, like I said, indirectly, out of all the friends that, JP had at that time, like I was the only one to play football. The rest of them play basketball. All of them play basketball. Like, so I'm like, I'm so in awe of you. And you end up showing me, and letting me in your life during that time. And I remember, and I was telling you this story when we were talking last week. You took me, you had me come work out with you. And it was you, and it was the safety for big old guy from Florida. I think he wore number 20. He was a safety for the Bengals. Big guy, dreadlocks. I don't know if you remember who it was, but that's neither here nor there.
Juwan Armour.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Big guy. He was from Florida. Big old guy. Big dude. Safety. I'm like, good God. And so it was the winter. It was the winter time. And he's off season. And we went I think we went to the University of Cincinnati, Nipper Stadium at the time, to do stadiums. And in my brain, LaVar, I said, these dudes right here, man, these some NFL, I cannot let these cats show me up. It's cold in the mug out there. So you let me go. I beat y'all. I'm winning. I remember this more than you do, because it was that much more impactful for me. You just was like, hey, man, yeah, I'm gonna show you this is who you are. You just a good person, man, And so I'm just like, I'm taken back by it. And I'm running the stadiums. It's cold. I got my braids at the time. And I remember you prefaced everything. You were like, hey, don't try to run this so hard. It's cold outside. So, your chest gonna get, they're gonna get the hawk up in you. And I hear none of it. I said, I don't care what he said. I got to show these cats. So you end up that day after working out, you fed me and everything. And you had, it was an event going on at the stadium, and then you had to do something, had to get something from the stadium, the locker room, and man, you blessed me, big dog, and you took me with you. And you not only took me with you, you let me go inside though. I'm going inside of Paul Brown now, Paycor Stadium, and here I am, close. I'm with him. We go into the thing. They like, I'm with him. Gave me a little hat, winter cap, and it's the Bengals winter cap. So they have an event going on, LaVar, at the stadium, whereas these kids who doing this chess tournament, and I'm 6'1", I'm 6'1". I was 6'1" then.
Yeah.
I was pretty tall. I was at the time, I was 6'1", and I was athletically built, and I had the braids and all that stuff. So. And I'm just a junior high school, and we go up there, and it's just so many people in there, and some players are in and out. We're up there with the kids and stuff as we're going to the locker room, and these kids are like, they think that I play on the team. I'm like, I don't. I'm in high school. They can't believe that. No, you're not. You're not in high school. I'm not. He's with the team. I'm not. So anyway, we continue to go down to the locker room, and lo and behold, man, who's in the locker room? I'm in the Bengals locker room. This is a true story. I'm a junior in high school. I'm in the Bengals locker room with this man right here, my hero, LaVar Glover, like my hero, like literally my hero, LaVar Glover. And who was in the locker room waiting for some type of event to happen? It's Chad Johnson. Now, Chad Johnson's in the locker room, and it's like the cheerleading coach and the cheerleaders, they're like doing they're working out, they're doing their routine, they're practicing. And Chad Johnson, the cheerleading coach, they tight, man, like cool, like she loves him, he loves her. And I remember, you introduced me to Chad Johnson. You tell him who I am, young man, kid that my brother, plays basketball with and plays football. And Chad Johnson had a gold chain. Had this thick gold chain, like big old chain, like a herringbone chain, old school. I think it was like a link chain, but it was thick and all gold. And I remember, he shook my hand, brought it in, none but respect and love. That the cheerleading coach, she talking to the cheerleading coach, and he's talking to you, and it's like y'all relationship was cool. I mean, called you glove and everything, and just as charismatic as he is now. And the cheerleading coach, and they cool. He said, he puts the chain on her. He puts his chain on her. She rocking it. And they just laughing and having a good time. But that moment, that whole experience, LaVar, is literally implanted in my brain that I want this. I want this. And not only do I don't just want it, like I don't want to be rich. I want to be like LaVar. I want to be able to get a scholarship. I want to be able to have an opportunity to get out my rough surroundings. And I always want to have an opportunity. And that's what you created for yourself during your story that you've told thus far. You, with your work ethic and your mindset, LaVar, you created opportunities for yourself. That's the real message. That's the real message that I was able to receive. I was like, I don't want to be rich. You weren't rich at the time. Oh, I thought you were rich. I thought you were rich because you had your stuff in order. And here you are, just a young, not even 25 years old, man. I mean, like, this is a true story. And I just I aspire to be like you. And you didn't know all this stuff until I kind of told you that last week. And, you said it made your month, made your week. Man, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for, giving me that opportunity to just get a little taste. And no, I didn't make it to the NFL. I hurt myself, and this ain't about me. Not a lot of people don't even know. I don't even talk about it. A lot of people don't even know I play football. I'm in the Hall of Fame at my university, all that stuff. They a big plaque with my face in it and all that, man, LaVar. And so, but I just wanted to thank you, and just you, and it kind of goes to what you're, as we move forward, because I know we gotta, fast forward, because this, we getting there. This will be I make these 2 episodes. Don't you worry. I love it. So you at the Cincinnati Bengals. You're inspiring people like myself and your brother, who end up becoming one of my best friends. And I think it's because of what you brought to the table and what you sacrificed and what you continue to do. I felt like, man, I got to be just like that when it comes to JP. I ain't a perfect person by no means, but I made it out of Cincinnati. So, but you inspired me, and also it just made my relationship with JP that much stronger, like that much stronger. So I thank you. But as we fast forward, you with the Bengals, and I think you're a superstar. You are a superstar. But during all this time, you're mentoring your brother. And when it comes to mentoring your brother, when you're in the NFL, when you get to the league, when it comes to your mentoring and your, your involvement with the youth, like, was that something that, kind of flourished based off of your, you taking your brother in at an earlier age, or was it just started hitting you when you got to the NFL, and then you were introduced to certain programs to kind of start mentoring other kids? You tell me.
Yeah, little bro was definitely inspiration for me to, want to impact young people, man. But in addition to that, I got my degree in criminal justice with a concentration on juvenile delinquency. And so I was already working towards that track. I knew that I wanted to, I initially wanted to be a juvenile lawyer. I wanted to work to advocate for young people, man, young people's rights. But like I said, taking young bro in, he inspired me, man. If I could change the course of his life, if I could inspire him, motivate him, I could do that to other young people as well. And so that's what led to, my journey with opening up a group home. Those young folk was, I saw my younger brother. Every time I looked at them, it was the same. You know what I mean? And so that's still to this day, that still holds true to this day.
Yeah.
A lot of things that I've done working with youth, it was inspired by little bro, man.
Man, then again, JP may not even fully grasp that, not yet. Again, perspective is everything. He may have not even had known that, even though you said that, countless amounts of time through any type of, conversations with, newspapers or, reporters. And even in this conversation with myself, you continue to stay strong to that statement when it comes to your little brother and your involvement in the youth. That's the thing, because you and I ended up losing. I don't think it's losing track of one another. It's more so in where you were in life, and then where I was in life. I was playing college ball, and I'm like, man, it was so many times, man. I thought I'm talking about you, and I'm like, man, at the time you were still playing. We were still playing ball. So as I, in the introduction, we talked about, as I was announcing, you getting drafted in 2002 by the Pittsburgh Steelers. and then, you getting let go and getting to their practice squad, but then only going to Cincinnati, getting signed to their practice squad, then getting signed on fully. And from there, you end up, you're there for 2 years in Cincinnati. Now you're playing arena football. And I remember all this. This is stuff. This is what I was on you, man. I was on you through JP and through internet, because I'm in college playing college football. But I'm like, arena football was, it was pretty big at some point. It started dying down, but you end up leaving. Like, when you're done with the Bengals, when it comes to their playing career, you go to the arena football. Why? Because of what you were not getting. Nobody was calling your phone for the NFL.
Yeah, man. So, when you a free agent, man, you pursue whatever's next and whatever's out there. And so again, I never really been injured, man, like all through youth and high school and college, and then come to the NFL and have some minor injuries. And so that was a little setback. But to be honest, man, my shot at the Arena Football League was because of my time with the Bengals.
Wow.
And so the player personnel guy. So what was wild was that they had me, and like I said, I was on active roster. I wasn't on practice squad, so I was an active roster guy. But they had me work out as a receiver. They were thinking about, signing in a quarterback, and they had me run routes for him as a receiver.
What? You ain't played receiver since high school?
Hey, as a receiver, but he was throwing routes, and I said, okay, yeah, I'll run some routes for him. And I think that gave them a little insight on me and my athleticism. And so the player personnel guy, he felt that I would be a perfect two-way player in the Arena Football League. And, arena, you can go both ways.
Right.
And so our player personnel guy, Duke Tobin, when the Bengals did release me.
Duke Tobin.
Name
still infamous.
Yep. He called down to the Orlando Predators, who he called down to one of his former teammates, which was Jay Gruden.
What?
And so Jay Gruden was the head coach. And he said, man, I got this guy. We got to release him, but he would be a fantastic arena football player. He'll go both ways. And so Jay signed me immediately, and I was like, wow, that's a huge connection.
Right.
And he plugged me. I mean, I didn't have to search for it. He said, man, we releasing this guy, guess they felt bad for me or whatever. But he was like, man, I got a shot. I'm going to give you a shot. So Jay signed me, and I was down in Orlando Predators, man, which was a great experience.
Right.
And with Jay Gruden, who ended up being the offensive coordinator for the Bengals.
Right. And then ended up getting a head coaching job for the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, he obviously, I don't know what he's doing. I know he's still involved in football, but I know he had a little, breakdown or whatnot, had some off the field issues. And he's not, and it's crazy because both of the Grudens, like their football knowledge is like top to none. And but to each his own. Everybody has a journey. Everybody has a story. So you're playing arena football. How long are you playing arena football? How many? Is it 1 year, 2 years?
Man, I played a total of 2 years, and arena gave me a chance. I really didn't like arena. We were playing on the old AstroTurf.
Bad for the body.
So it was bad for my body, man. But it gave me a chance to continue to play, to stay in shape, to stay relative, because my goal was always to go back to the NFL.
Yeah.
I got paid. I played for 3 months and got paid $40,000 or $50,000, and they paid for your housing. And so it was like, you made 30, 40, 40,000 in 3 months.
In your pocket, and that's in your pocket.
Yeah. And then you can go and do other things,
Correct.
Whatever that was, but it kept me playing. It kept me around the game.
Right.
And so I played that for 2 years. And then got an opportunity to go to Canada, man, which
that right there. I remember when that happened.
And that was big time, man, because I actually had a chance to go to Canada out of college, right? They were pursuing out of college or whatever. So if I didn't get drafted, I probably would have went to Canada.
Right.
And man, Canada was one of the best things that ever happened.
Man. And
to be honest, one of the best experiences ever.
The people, the cultures, everything.
Yeah. And it was suited well for my skill set. I was in a great location and being in British Columbia, Vancouver. So I was on the West Coast. The weather Weather was beautiful.
Right.
It was just all in all fantastic experience, man. Played there for 4 years. And that was like being in college all over again.
Really?
You know, we had a core group of guys that was there, and you know, we still talk to this day.
Man.
You know what I mean? And we
That's
were some
cool.
ballers, man. It was some
Yeah.
ballers, flat
That's
out
the
ballers.
thing.
You
Like,
know, and you know, we were flat out ballers, man. And so I'm, you know, I became an all-star, won a Grey Cup. I was able to work in the community, you know what I mean? And so
yeah.
it was fantastic. And I got paid a lot of money there.
Right. Yeah,
So,
exactly. That's exactly. I was going
you
to say.
know,
I was going to say, like, because when it comes to the competition level, and of course the rules are a little bit different. The field's wider, right? Is it wider or longer?
it's
Right? It's wider.
it's both. It's 110
Yeah, 110. So
and then 55 across. Yeah.
wow. And so
Yeah.
when it came to, and then they also, when it comes to the receivers, they get the whole running start. You got the running,
Man.
you know, a receiver goes into motion and they start all the way back 10 yards ahead and he started running forward, and
It was
you
cheating,
gotta cover that guy, and he's running full. He already has a jump. He already has a full start. Like,
yeah.
how was the adjusting as you know, as a DB? How was that adjusting to Canadian football opposed to NFL? Was it hard? A lot of people say it's harder to play CFL opposed to NFL. Would you?
Man, it was tough. You definitely got to get used to that game. But I had a little bit of a training ground playing arena, because arena had the motion as well.
Yes.
The only difference is
Smaller
the size
field.
of the field.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
50
Arena
yards.
so everything is happening right now, and you really don't have time to do anything. And really, you know, it really wasn't football. But when you played in Canada, man, it was more. To me, it was more like the regular game of football. And so for me, out on a corner, I mean, it became, you know, you playing zone, you playing read coverage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You reading 3-step, all of that's the same, you know. And so it just became, you know, just regular defensive back stuff.
Right.
But you definitely had to be quick, and, you know, you had to learn the angles of the field, you know, and so it was a fun game, man. It was, to me, the CFL is made for receivers and defensive backs. And so you got a little bit of skill to play that, man. You can go over there and get your money, man, for a long time.
And now you over there, when you win the equivalent of their Super Bowl, which is a Grey Cup, and
it was big.
Big time though, LaVar. And I remember when it happened. I'm still in college playing ball, but I'm watching everything about you at that time, and still my superhero still was my super. He's still my superhero to this day, dog. And a lot of people, and that's the crazy thing, you know, people ask me that. So like, man, who's your favorite superhero? So I didn't grow up with a father.
Wow.
So my mom was, you know, she struggled with some addictions in life. She's great now. I wasn't, you know, I never had a coach, you know, a true like high school coach who kind of took me in, other than Coach Green, and who was connected to Doc Gamble, who ended up helping me get to college, right? And so, but those guys were not consistent, and they weren't like everyday people, you know. And Coach Green was toward the extent, but he was also growing up in his life too. And so, but you were my superhero then. You still my superhero now. You always gonna be my superhero, man. And so. It has nothing to do with it ain't got half to do with your athletic football skill. It had mostly to do with the character of a person that you are. And and I mean that, you know, from the top of my heart, like I told you. And so you end up playing at finishing in 2010. Like, were you finished with football? Like, did you have some juice still left in you to play, or was it just opportunities just were not there anymore?
Yeah. So I was I pursued it in 2011 as well. So I was 32, man, at that time. So I was considered old, you know what I mean? Started at 22 and finished at 32. And so played.
That's a long career,
pursued that thing for 10 years, man. And like man, my last year, so I played 4 and ended up going to Winnipeg, and then my last year ended up pulling my groin. Started the season off hot too, man. I started the season off hot. First 6 games, 5 games, I had like 2 picks. You know what I'm saying? Had a bunch of pass breakups. I was on my way to an all-star year.
Yeah.
And like I said, I had so much to, you know, prove. Like, man, I'm 32. I can still play. I got game, you know. because I was one of the older players, and ended up pulling my groin, man. Had to sit out for the last like 6-8 weeks or whatever. Had to do the whole off season thing and worked super hard to come back. And I signed with Edmonton Eskimos.
Yep.
And went to camp, and we had a physical test and passed that with flying colors. Did my thing, man. And it was so crazy because one of my coaches, he's the one that brought me there. Like, hey, I need my boy Glove with me, and you my guy. And man, they didn't pass my physical.
Dang.
Not on my groin or my legs. It was something else that I've never had issues with. And so that was a little sour that I didn't get to leave on my own terms, you know. And I'm like, man, I ain't never had issues with my shoulder, but they failed my physical. So that kind of, you know, that kind of blackballed me a little bit.
That put a stamp on you.
Yeah.
Put a stamp on you.
But I had money saved in the bank, man. And, you know, like I said, I was thankful to play for 10 years. And I had already started my group home.
Yeah.
You know, a year and a half prior. And so I was already set up, man. And so I went home and started with life, man.
Yeah,
and
started with life.
Already had a business that was thriving. We were serving young folks, man, teenage foster kids. We were rocking and rolling.
And that was from 09. That was 09 and 13, right?
Yeah. We started in 09 and actually I went on to 17. I wasn't a licensed group home, but I was consulting and helping others get started.
Man.
And that's actually, to be honest, that's where I was today.
That's
so,
it, man. That's what that. Listen, that's what I like. You've been doing this. You've been in that type of industry, which is mentoring and fostering and uplifting and motivating and educating and elevating these young youth. And you know, it kind of goes towards, you know, with all that being said, you know, that, you know, you have kids, right? You have a wife, a lovely wife. And, you know, you tell your wife that I thank Ms. Glover for allowing me to have this conversation with one of the most influential people in my life. But just tell her, man, like, you know, she done seen you with these young guys, but she like, this dude right here, grown man right here. Like you inspire and inspire people when you least expect it. And so, and no matter if you're young, old, same age. That's something I've learned as I'm growing, you know, as I'm growing in this world as a, you know, 41-year-old man, is you can always teach, you can always elevate people older than you, younger than you, and your same age. I do it. I mean, it's like, you carry it on yourself like you do. This is my person, and I'm grateful for that. And again, man, you've been a light in my life when it comes to that. And then listening to the story that the parts that I didn't know, to like, man, you LaVar, that's who you've been that. And so, and it carries over to you're doing you're raising your brother who motivates you to mentor and start, you know, eventually start this business that you end up starting and consulting, and you're continuing to do so today. Now, when it comes to what you're doing in today's date, because I like to, you know, I want to broadcast this type of stuff because, you know, you're a resource for young people in the inner city, whether you're in Dayton or around it, because this thing is global when I'm posting stuff like this. So what are you doing right now when it comes to the community? And I know the answer, but what are you doing when it comes to the community work currently in today's day? What is LaVar Glover currently doing for the community?
Yeah, man, Tito, man, I'm so proud of you, man. And thank you for giving me this platform to share, man. And, you know, you just with your words, man, and what you're doing, you inspire me. Trust me, man.
I appreciate
and I'm gonna be inspired after I get off of here.
Yeah.
So, man, currently I am working for Goodwill Easter Seals here in Dayton as the director of operations for a facility that we have in the inner city, West Dayton or whatever. And in the serving business, man. So we helping people overcome barriers, man, to employment, barriers to addiction or incarceration, even elderly. And so we work with, you know, different demographics of people, but it's the business of service. And so we're contributing and impacting the community. And I'm lucky because I get a chance to work with different folks, different age groups. I work with youth, I work with seniors, I work with young adults, just kind of as the spearhead of that organization. And so they've entrusted in me to be one of the, executive council members and leading the effort, man, and which is pretty impactful. And outside of that, outside of my job, I contribute to my fraternity, which is Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Mm-hmm. I see the colors on you. I see it, bro. I see it, baby.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Reach to the bros.
Yeah, look at
so there, man, I've been nominated and selected to be the chair of our fatherhood and mentoring.
Man, dog.
And so I keep myself busy, man. We just this past week, we worked with some young sixth graders at their Black History program. And so that was a treat, man. Got a chance to work with them the whole month of February. They had a program on Friday and it was excellent. And so, yeah, man. So just being a contribution, man. That's all. That's it.
Just being LaVar Glover, and so, and that's just, like I said, bro, it's inspiring, man. You got me going to continue to put, my best foot forward when it comes to, again, just doing this podcast and, trying to educate and elevate these young kids and, and people our age and people older and people, people who alike. And when it comes to just the journey and the things that you go through and, and the resiliency that you must show and the dedication and the consistency. That's the key, is consistency. We talk about staying in the NFL, staying in the major league, but you also have to be consistent in life, right? Consistent in life. So you've accomplished so much, LaVar, in your young life, and I'm gonna ask about your family, right? As we talked about it earlier, you had 5 kids. I try to dub him with one more though. I try to dub him with one more. I try to dub it, but you have a blended family, or your wife and yourself. Y'all brought kids into the family, and then you guys had one, which is the youngest one, who's probably going to be the most beast of the athletes out of the family. That's just how it works when you're young, when you get to absorb all the stuff that the parents did and what they did right, what they did wrong, what the older siblings did right and what the older siblings did wrong. But you currently have 2 young men from your household who are basically following some of the same footsteps that you've gone and the path that you have kind of burned this blazing trail on, coming from that Dayton area. Again, Dayton's this small, Cincinnati's this small, but Dayton's this small. So tell me a little bit about your family, the dynamics, and your sons, because hey, exposure's everything. I've already looked the boys up. I've already done my research, but go ahead, tell me a little bit about the family.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you, man. Again, I get married with 5 beautiful boys, man, ranging from age 7 to 24. And so the oldest 2 boys are outside of the house, man. They're doing their thing. One is a coordinator of ticket sales for the University of Dayton, their athletic department. And
shout out Dayton Flyers.
Yeah, the other son is graduated from Mount Healthy High School in Cincinnati. He just became a deputy sheriff, and so he's on this path of criminal justice, man, and doing really well. Got a family himself. He's married with kids and everything's doing his thing. And then we got 2 middle boys who are the athlete boys. Really good in sports, man. They excel. One excelled here locally in Dayton at Centerville High School, and the other one excelled at Princeton High School down in Cincinnati.
Right.
And both of them were...
What's the names?
Yeah. So one is Caleb Clark Glover. He's at Marshall University in his beginning his 3rd year. And so he'll be a redshirt sophomore this year. And
just
then
like your daddy, boy.
Yeah. Yeah, he doing his thing, man, majoring in marketing,
nice.
Pursuing marketing. And so dynamic young man, doing really good in education and on the field.
Nice.
And my other son, Reggie Powers, he just completed his true freshman year. And so he'll be going into his sophomore campaign at Oklahoma. University of Oklahoma. So he's a Sooner, big time ball player, man.
Big time.
4-star guy.
Yeah.
And so looking forward to seeing what he produced on the field. But they're class guys, class act guys, man. Good character guys. They're good in the classroom. They good stand up guys, man. And we that's what it's about, man. When you see your boys or see your kids, grow up to be outstanding people.
Yeah.
whether it's in sports or, you know,
In life.
in life period.
Yeah.
They're great sons. They're great big brothers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and then I got a little boy, Iverson, who's 7, and he say he want to play football. But we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
He probably scared of the contact right now, you know, but
You know, I don't know, man. He kind of rises to the occasion. So whatever's in front of him, you know. So if somebody's smaller in front of him, he's going to play small. You know what I'm saying? But if somebody's bigger, he's going to play big.
Play level of his competition,
He's one of those type of kids, man. But so far, he's played soccer. Last year was his first year in soccer, first year in baseball. And he's recently taken up Taekwondo.
Man, dude.
So, but yeah, man, he's gonna be a special young man. Like you said, he got his brothers to look up to, man, and aspire after. What's best, what's exciting and really inspiring is that he gets a chance to travel with us to all these games, man. So he sees all of this big time football, man. He's been to Ohio State,
right?
He's been to, you know, he's seen Alabama play. He's seen Texas and Tennessee.
Right. Correct.
You know, and so just that exposure alone is going to, you know, open his eyes to the possibility of, hey, this could be me too.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct. You got a pedigree of good character young men and you know, great athletes on the field, and hopefully, you know, they're doing, you know, great things off the field, because, you know, you got some big shoes to fill, LaVar, as you continue to, you know, do what you're supposed to be doing in his life. And that's to you know, uplift and encourage and inspire people in general. Innocent people in general. And if they are half the person that I know you are, like, bro, they in for a great ride of life. And so
he was compliment.
And when it comes to the younger, and we're going to be wrapping this up here soon, when it comes to the younger generation and your sons, right? Like, you know, they're going, you know, when it comes to Reggie Powers, he's a 4-star recruit. He played his freshman year. He is a true freshman. You know, NIL money, NIL and transfer portal, you know, those are real things that, you know, players have to go through, coaches have to go through, parents have to go through, guardians, etc. What are some of the things that you're, you know, talking to your boys about, your sons about, when it comes to the NIL money and the transfer portal? Because, you know, it sounds like your son at Marshall, he's going into his redshirt junior year next year, sophomore year. Yeah, his sophomore year. Like, what do you talk to them about NIL? You know, something I'm getting into. I'm looking at possibly becoming an NIL agent. You know what I mean? Like, just because of just because of my net, you know, with people, the game, you know, the game of, you know, sports, a game of football, and just my passion behind just the athlete. I was a collegiate athlete. You were a collegiate athlete. I didn't have care packages. You know, as I told you, at the time, my mom was battling some addictions. My father was null and void. I was struggling in college. You know, I went to a smaller university, Division I school, and my teachers helped me from high school. They used to send me care packages and my Pell Grant money. That was it, man. But what would you tell these? What kind of conversations are you having with your sons? You know, respectfully, the one at Oklahoma and respectfully the one at Marshall, when it comes to NIL and the transfer portal.
Yeah, man. Obviously, you know, they're in two different scenarios, but, you know, I always just share with them to do the work, man. You know, the NIL, all of the extras that'll come. You know, that'll be there, but as long as you put the work in and do the work, you know, things will work out the way that you want them. We try not to get too caught up in that lane. It's pretty much set or whatever. I take the same approach as I had as a player, as a man, you know, and that's that blue collar approach.
Right.
I put in the work. I don't even want to hear you talking about NIL if you're not even on the field or if you're not putting in the work.
Right.
Why does that even matter?
NIL or NFL?
NIL, NFL, hey man,
CFL, like you
it
ain't
don't matter.
if
You
you ain't
know,
got the work
you gotta
ethic.
put in the work. So,
Yeah,
and it's lopsided now, man, because you got a lot of guys that, you know, their ego and, you know, confidence is
100%,
greater
100%.
than the reality of,
Yep,
you know, what type of player they are. And
yep.
that's where we at right now, man. But I always tell them, man, you know, hey, the best players, you know, from my standpoint, are the ones that work the hardest. You
100%.
know, the best players, the stars, they work the hardest, man. They
They
know
do.
how to work. They know how to come to work. They know how to, you know, set goals for themselves. And, you know, and like I said, you know, from collegiate to being professional, everybody that I was around, they worked the hardest.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Nobody worked harder than Chad Johnson at all, period, point blank.
Period.
You know, ain't nobody working harder than Peyton Manning. You know, the best players, ain't nobody working harder than Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or LeBron.
Right.
The best players work the hardest.
Right.
And so if there was one message for me to give to my boys and also to other young people, hey, put in the work and the rest will take care of itself.
Man, dude, that you know, and that's his cliche, and that's a cliche statement because you know Ray said the same thing. His work, he was a 4th round draft pick that got drafted after our junior year of college and playing at Purdue. So could have went to any school in the country. All right, was highly recruited. Is you know what it was you hit it right. You're hitting it on the head throughout our whole conversation, and me knowing the person that you are, and then again you filling in the book and giving me full context with the rest of your story. You 100% right. Ray was that person who worked hard, kept his head down, who worked hard. He was the guy that they gave the janitors, custodial workers, gave him a key to the gym because
wow.
he went to Woodward High School and he was getting there ready 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. And this is a true story. And he wasn't the best, he wasn't the most skilled athlete, but he worked harder than everybody. And so, and it's your story. It's Coach Atkins' story. My brother Alex Atkins. It's you said it about the players such as Peyton Manning and your Hall of Fame guys. Those guys literally just outwork the person next to them. And, and that's no different than you want to be a Fortune 500 company. You want to be a number one podcaster. People ask me about my podcast. Like, man, how did you, I've only been doing this for less than a month, man. But I stay up to 6 o'clock in the morning. I stay up all nighters doing this stuff sometimes. And I can't sit at the desk too long because I'm doing through physical therapy and stuff right now, but it's outworking the man next to you, and the rest will take care of itself. LaVar, man, I'll tell you this, man, this has been a unbelievable conversation. I mean, I'm never able to get to everything that I want to because just the conversation, and you just hit it. You hit it on the head. And I was going to ask you, hey, what would you tell these young guys? You just explained it. And for you young people, this guy has played with some of the best, played against some of the best. He has worked out with some of the best. And when I say some of the best, I mean, he's included in some of the best, because when you're able to make it to the highest level of the professional sport that you're playing, that means that you were the best of the best.
That's
and
right.
Based off of based off of you and who you are and what you continue to do, that work ethic has not changed. So I encourage you guys to look this guy up, LaVar Glover, the journey from walking on to being a walk-on in college to walking on an NFL field to holding the Grey Cup to having championships to making money to opening up his own his mentoring and fostering business. Not even a business, it's just a resource is what I call it. He opens up his own resource to help people, continues to help people to this day, young kids, young men and young ladies, and also just a unbelievable force in your family. Someone your kids, your wife. What a blessing for them to have you. I know you, and I know you to be LaVar Glover, my hero. But at some point, man, I want to get back on here. Is there anything that you would like the viewers, when it comes to what you're currently doing? Is there any website they can go to? Because I'm gonna post all this stuff on the description, and I'm gonna get your social media stuff, and I'm gonna have that posted at the end of the episode as far as the description. But is there any type of a website or any type of information that people who need mentoring, kids who need mentoring, because that's a big thing. And also mental health. Mental health is a serious thing. And, we didn't get to talk about that because you hit on it. Mentally playing the game, going through the life, of trying to make it, trying to survive, then making it, walking on, then, playing football, then, getting drafted in the 7th round, making it, walk on the practice squad, working your tail off, getting cut, going to this place, going to that place. That's mentally draining. And that is, and, when you have people who cut you and they don't believe in you, but somebody else believes in you, that's also mentally wearing on the mind. And so mental health is a big thing. But, if you need any type of help, please reach out to your, go online. There are a lot of different resources. But when it comes to what you offer and the mentoring that you offer, tell them a little bit about it again before we leave.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the platform. And so if you're here locally, I work for Goodwill Easter Sales here in Dayton, Ohio. We serve people with barriers to mental health, with struggles with mental health. And so if you are adult or even a youth needing resources, you can find us. We have youth programming and we have some adult programming as well in that field. And be on the lookout, man. Our fraternity is really active in the community. My particular focus is fatherhood and mentoring. And so we have some initiatives already in place where, we're working in the schools and we're working in different, we're partnering with different organizations, and whether it be group homes or Jack and Jill, we're going to be in the Botillion here coming up. And so, but yeah, just happy to meet everyone and to share a little bit of insight and some stories. Again, Tito, thanks for the platform, man. I'm so proud of you and everything that you're doing for your family, man. And like you said, man, you're a grown man now, man. And you work.
Listen,
man.
You
make me proud, bro.
It was so. Hey, listen, it was so much that I was like, man, when I was in college. Yeah, I'm not jaw jabbing now, but when I was in college, and I became I was the receiver. Yeah. I was the receiver, man, in the conference. I don't talk about it a lot. I had some quarterback issues, but based off of my quarterbacks that I'm talking about breaking records in the conference, but breaking records in the nation and in Division I in general. And all I could think about was you. That's man, weird. You showed me, you was showing me DB, we went to Dayton High School, but we was on that field, but you man impressed me. And man, I'm talking about, boy, them big old paws of yours, and you you locked me down. But I didn't know how to be a receiver then, because in high school, they didn't really teach me how to do that. It wasn't until I got to college, and then I was roasting cats like, Cortland Finnegan and Rogers Camardi, and the list goes on and on. These cats are NFL cats, and when one of them guys got drafted in the first round, I'm killing him out there, But you just continue to do what you're doing, man. Continue to aspire and educate and elevate in these young people. They really need it. And not just young people, our people of our age, people of our ethnicity, we need it. They need to know that, there's hope out there, man. It's all about mindset. Yeah. It's all about mindset. It's all about work ethic. And as cliche as that sound, cliches are cliches because they're true. All right. So, but man, I won't hold you any longer, man. I would love to have, your boys on here at some point. People need to, people need to know their story. People need to know how these young men got to, Oklahoma and got to Marshall. So young men, listen, I need you to come. Reggie Powers and what's give me your other son's name?
Caleb Clark Glover.
And Caleb Clark Glover. Reggie Powers and Caleb Clark Glover. Shout out to y'all, man. Keep doing y'all thing on the field. But most importantly, hey, you got to outwork the next man. If you have any aspirations, man, you have a legend at home who knows the game. Don't be on that young boy stuff and say, man, you played it at this time and that time. Guess what? The NFL was there then, and it's there, and it's here now. And guess what? He at 4.3 speed, that was fast then, and that's fast now. So once you think you know everything, but you are the biggest fool in life. So you only can learn from the people who've already been there and the people who are already doing it. So stop watching highlights, all y'all young people. Watch how the highlight became a highlight. Film study, film study, film study. But other than that, LaVar, my hero, still my hero to this day. Ladies and gentlemen, Hey, we won't hold him any longer. Nothing but love for my hero, LaVar Glover.
Appreciate you, bro.
We can do some. Bro, keep talking that shit, you just might move some. Apply that pressure.